So this story is about Hafid, the young camel boy. His story is a lot like our stories. A lot of people that started in plumbing, they started laboring first. They started shoveling. Hafid's job was shoveling camel poop for his master Petros. And it's almost like us when we started in the trenches, digging ditches and starting out in plumbing. So Petros passes down 10 scrolls of success to Hafid. And Hafid ends up growing up being the greatest salesman in the world, and he gathers a lot of great riches. And going back to this story, Petros makes Hafid promise that once he reveals and gives them these 10 scrolls, that he must, number one, not share it with anybody in the world. So he has to keep it a secret. So he lives, and you could see in part 2, he lives all the way through and keeps the 10 scrolls as a secret. He must apply the principles to create wealth. He must use the wealth to donate and help people less fortunate. And in the second book, The Greatest Salesman in the World, Hafid becomes a seminar speaker, and then he creates the 10 vows of the rich, which we covered last week. We're going to go back to that, and I want to go over the 10 vows of the rich. But right now, after we reveal this, after we talk about this, we're going to go talk about the 10 ancient scrolls for success. So last week we reviewed this. Vow number 1, never again will I pity or belittle myself. Vow number 2, never again will I greet the dawn without a map. Vow number 3, never again will I be disagreeable to a living soul. Vow number 4, always I will seek the seed of triumph in every adversity. Vow number 5, never again will I perform any task less than my best. Vow number 6, always will I throw myself into the task at hand. Vow number 7, never again will I wait in hope for an opportunity to embrace me. Vow number 8, always will I examine each night my deeds of the fading day. Vow number 9, what infirmity have I mastered today? What passion opposed? What temptation resisted? What virtue acquired? Vow number 10, always will I maintain contact through prayer with my Creator. So that was last week's, guys, and we went over in detail what those were. And I even passed down and emailed these scrolls of success and the 10 vows of the rich. I do urge everybody to go get the book and read it or listen to it on audiobook, because there's just a lot of great learning, a lot of great nuggets that come out of there. So Petros gives Hafid a red robe, right? Hafid comes in and says to Petros, I don't want to shovel camel poop all the time. I want to learn how to be one of the greatest salesmen in the world. And can you help me do that, Master? Just help me, teach me what it is that you know. And then Petros says, okay, Hafid, I'm going to go ahead and give you this red robe, and sends him out to Bethlehem. He says, until you sell this red robe, go door to door, talk to people, and figure out how to sell this red robe. He doesn't give him any instructions on how to do it, but he does tell him that this robe, I'm going to charge you 1 silver denarius for this robe. Now you sell it for whatever you want to sell it for, and whatever you sell it for, difference is yours. You keep the profit. He tells him failure will never overtake him if his determination to succeed is strong enough. So if he has a strong enough fire in his belly, if he wants to succeed really badly, that there will never be failure. It'll never overtake him. Then Hafid goes out with this one robe, sell it, and Petros promises to save his job as a camel boy, in case Hafid doesn't like the salesperson job. Hafid goes out and he goes door to door to sell this robe. He gets rejection after rejection. He wakes up early in the morning and doesn't go to bed until late at night, taking this beautiful red robe, trying to sell it door to door, and goes everywhere. And after second day of failure, he starts beating himself up. He starts having self-doubt. He goes, what a failure I am. I can't even sell this one red robe my master gave. And as Hafid gets all of these objections, he remembers his why, right? We talk about our why when we do TNT and boot camp. He remembers his why in life, his wife. And as he thinks about it, and he gets up and he has more energy and keeps going. He says, I can't quit. And he keeps going door to door. After the 4th day, he's passing by this cave, and there's a little baby in a manger in this cave. The baby is sleeping, and the parents are standing over this manger, and their cloak. Back then, they used to wear these long robes or dresses, and the parents' cloaks are over this manger, and they're trying to keep the baby warm. It's really cold. Hafid goes in. He feels really bad for this baby, so he goes back to his his donkey, gets this robe out of his donkey, and the family is poor, so he knows he can't sell this robe to the family because they don't have any money. So what does he do? Takes this robe and he gives it to the family. Says, keep your baby warm. He gives it to the family, and he doesn't charge him any. He just walks out of the cave, kind of feeling good that he helped this baby, but now being even more depressed because he feels like a big failure. So he goes back to Petros. He starts going back, and as he's going back to his master, Petros looks up and sees this star in the sky following Hafid back. And from a distance, he sees Hafid coming, and this big star is actually following him and is just right on top of him. So Hafid goes in and tells his story to his master and says, hey, Petros, I failed, man. I let you down. You gave me the robe. You gave me the chance. I got out there. I got days and days of rejection. And I kept going and I kept going, and I got hundreds, maybe tens of hundreds of rejections. I kept going. And then one day I was passing by this cave, and I heard a baby. I heard people in the cave. I went inside and I saw this baby that was really cold. And I gave the family, this poor family, the robe. And Petros looks up and says, you didn't do any bad. He goes, the star that's been following you, there's this favor of God that's on top of you. And it's clear later in the story that that baby is baby Jesus, and the parents are Mary, David. And then, in the second book, Hafid discovers that this star that followed him, star from heaven, Hafid was favored by God for what he had done. Finally, Petros, the greatest salesman in the world, passes down a chest with 10 scrolls in it. And this is the 10 scrolls that we're going to reveal today. He gives them 100 gold coins, very little money at the time. I don't know how to describe it in today's dollars. Then he gives them this chest with the 10 scrolls. Before he dies, tells them, he goes, I want you to take the 100 gold coins. I want you to take this chest. I want you to tell Hafid to study the scrolls daily. And he makes him promise under oath to apply the principles of these scrolls. If he does this, he will be the greatest salesman in the world. He will have the most riches in the world. He puts, again, these 3 conditions on Hafid. He says, number 1, you have to apply the scrolls. You got to open up each scroll one at a time, and you have to read the scroll for 30 days before you open the second scroll. You have to make the first scroll a habit. Tells them you have to make it a habit before you go to the next scroll. And then he tells them that the fortunes you make with these scrolls, by applying these scrolls and these principles, I want you to take half of your earnings, half of what you've made, and I want you to donate it to the poor. Give it to people that need it. Pass down the money to nonprofits, to churches, to whatever you feel is going to help the less fortunate. And number 3, I want you never, ever, ever to share these scrolls with not anybody in this world. Until the day you depart, have to keep these scrolls a secret. And these are the 10 vows we're about to review. And he promises that he will follow those 3 principles. He goes out and he goes to another town he goes to that he's going to pass it down as the town of Babylon. So he goes out and he gets himself a little place to stay. He uses some of the money. He opens up the chest and opens up the first scroll. And what's the first scroll? Number 1, today I begin a new life. Okay, what does this mean? Wherever you are, we all start a new life from where we are. Don't worry about the past, what's occurred. Similar to the 10 vows of the rich, the first scroll is about attitude. Today is every day. Don't worry about the past. Your journey can start today. Your life can change today. Make a decision to start wherever you are. Okay, look at life with a positive attitude. The glass is half full and not half empty. GlobalRichList.com. This is a website that you can go in there and you could put down how much you've earned in last year. You could also choose to put your net worth, how much possessions you own. And it compares it to the entire world. And then it gives you a statistic, right? And I went in there and I put $50,000 earning per year because I know that a lot of you on this phone are earning more than $50,000 a year. Some of you are earning 10 times that. Some of you are earning just that, and some of you are earning 3 times that or 4 times that. And then it puts a statistic there, and it says that you're in the top 0.31% of the world. $50,000 a year makes you become more than the top 1% of the people living in the world. Some of us forget that. Some of us get to a point where we feel entitled, okay? And in my opinion, we are all very fortunate to be living in today's world, to be where we're at today. So what is the first scroll? Today I begin a new life. To me, it's forming good habits, not becoming a slave of your own habits. Replacing bad habits with good habits. Because we're all becoming what our habits are. So read these words 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. The greatest salesman in the world tells Hafid, I need you to read this scroll 3 times a day. Today I begin a new life. To me, what he's telling him is that I want you to start your day with affirmations. I want you to, number one, he says there are 3 classes of people in this world. Okay, number one, those that learn from their experiences, and these people are wise. Those that learn from their experiences, these people are wise. Number 2, those that learn from experiences of others, these are happy people because they don't make too many mistakes. They learn the mistakes of other people. And the third is those that learn not from their own mistakes nor the experience of others. He says these are fools. He goes, you have to learn from your experiences. You have to learn from other people's experiences, which is the reason why we actually pay attention and listen to people that make mistakes. We take advice, things like that. But there's people that don't learn from their mistakes nor other people's mistakes. And these people are fools because they never get in life. They never get more out of life what they put in. Today I start a new day, learning from my experiences and the experiences for my brothers and sisters in this world and not repeating them. Today, this allows me to start a new life. I'm not a fool. I can learn from my mistakes. I can learn from the experiences of others. Never again will I pity or belittle myself, which comes from the, first scrolls that we went over. This is the first vow. So he goes in there and he reads this for 30 days over and over again. And then it goes to the second one. I will greet this day with love in my heart. How do you start the day with love in your heart? Let me tell you how I start my day with love in the heart. I start my day every day by writing gratitudes down. I write down the things I'm grateful for. I write down the people I'm grateful for. And then I write down why I'm grateful for these people. And then in my meditation, I think about the people I love. I learned a long time ago from a friend of mine that the people in this world are good. And I look at every single person in this world with the eyes of love and with good in my heart. Because this friend of mine that taught me this lesson, he actually called me yesterday. I'm going to have lunch with him. He said, John, he goes, there's more good people in this world than there is bad. And if you look for the good, you'll find the good. But if you focus on the bad, you will find the few bad that you will find in this world. But let me tell you, more people are good than bad. This stuck to me from what my friend told me 25 years ago, right? And I go, man, I can't believe it. He's right. There's so many great people in this world. And if you don't look for the great people in this world, you won't find them. Open your eyes. You got to greet this day with love in your heart, because if you come in with love in your heart, you will find the love from other people. But if you go in there with hatred and looking for the bad from every person, believe me, you will find it. You will find what you're searching for. Might as well go searching for the good. So Hafid, for the next 30 days, is reading this scroll. I will greet this day with love in my heart. So every day he's writing affirmation. And he's writing affirmation, and he's writing the good, he's writing his gratitude, and he makes it a habit, right, to do this. And I'm asking everybody, do the same thing, right? What can we learn? Second scroll. Okay, look for the good in people. Look for the good experiences. Write it down, what you're grateful for. Never start the day without a map. Always start your day with written goals, with a purpose that you know exactly what you're going to do that day. And then go on your life with doing good and starting the day with goals, with a purpose. Okay, number 3, I will persist until I succeed. Each day, I will venture the world with 3 powerful allies: confidence, pride, and enthusiasm. There will be days that as much as you try, nothing will go right. There will be frustration, guys. There will be frustration. I know I've experienced it. There's days that you feel like the world is against you, but your attitude is what's going to carry you forward. I remember talking to one of our top guys, Juan, one day. His attitude was so upbeat. It was so great, right? And he went on to tell me, John, today's been a great day. I go, why? He goes, I've been putting all of these no's out of the way. I've been getting nothing but no's, but I'm getting all the no's, putting them all out of the way because the yeses are coming. I go, wow, man, what a great attitude. Here's a guy that he's gone to multiple job sites and he's got multiple no's, people just not buying that day. And what is his attitude? Instead of going, man, what the heck? I need to change the way I do things. Things aren't working. What is he saying? I'm putting the no's out of the way. The yeses are lining. Thank you for that next no. Okay, thank you for that no, because I know there's a yes behind that no coming. And attitude is everything. I will persist until I succeed. How many of us give up after we have the first adversity that hits us? See, this is the difference between who's going to make it and who's going to not make it, guys. You cannot give up in the midst of adversity. Your attitude needs to carry you on. And as soon as you come across the failure or the frustration, you need to go beyond that and you need to continue to persist, continue to do the things you have to do. You don't change the way you do things. Change your attitude, make it upbeat. Let's go to number 4. I am nature's greatest miracle. We are all possessors of this wondrous power. All of you have the power that is unused and this unused potential. We are a miracle, and if we don't believe in ourselves, no one else will believe in us. It all starts with you and how you treat yourself. How do you talk to yourself? Are you telling yourself that I'm a child of God? I'm actually worth something in this world. I'm going to make something of myself. Are you beating yourself up, or are you having positive self-talk? You know what I've done today, guys? Purposely, I wrote down these affirmations. Every day in the morning, at noon, and at night, I read my affirmation. On top of that, I put the 10 ancient scrolls, and I also put the 10 vows of the rich on my mirror. When I get up to brush my teeth, I make it a point to read the 10 vows of the rich and the 10 scrolls for success. I read these every single day. You know why? Because if I don't put the good inside, nobody else is going to put the good inside. I have to purposely put all of this good stuff. Then I go in there and do my affirmation. I have it on a recording. Okay, sometimes when I'm brushing my teeth, okay, after I read the vows and the scrolls, I play this 2-minute tape. Is all these affirmations I recorded on my iPhone. I play it out loud. I look at myself in the mirror as my voice is telling me these affirmations. And I believe this about myself. And I feed good information into my brain, because if I don't purposely feed it, the bad goes in. The weeds will grow unless you're purposely pulling them out. And with me, I know that my brain only has a capacity to hold a certain amount of things. So what do? Instead, I feed the good in my mind. I look for the good in people. I feed the good affirmation morning, noon, and night. Sometimes if I'm having lunch with somebody, I'll excuse myself, go to the bathroom, and I'll play the affirmation for myself in the bathroom. Or I'll read it because I also wrote it down and I have it on my phone in my notes. And sometimes when I'm driving or if I'm in the middle of something, I'll pull it out and I'll start reading my affirmations in my mind. I'm telling you guys have to do this. We all have to do this, guys. This is the only way we're going to succeed in this world where there's nothing but negativity, where everything around us seems like it's falling apart. If we don't hold ourselves up, we're going to fall apart with it. So let's move to number 5. I will live this day as if it was my last. About 2 weeks ago, my cousin calls me. We know this friend of ours, a mutual friend, who's our age, and some of you met this guy. Him and his wife came to our last HEP meeting we did, Partner Enhancement Program, where you and your wives were in that meeting, and we were talking about how to live below your means, how to invest money. And at the end, the guy came in, he was talking about how to invest money into real estate, how to put it into HUD homes and everything. This man's name is Hadachin. And he's a friend I met through my cousin and became a really good acquaintance, really good friend. And I got a call from my cousin. He goes, did you hear what happened? Hadach. I said, no, I didn't. He said his wife went to Armenia on a vacation because his parents are there. And the kids were with her and they were in a car and they got into a car accident. She's in a coma. And my heart just dropped on the floor. I'm like, my God, I'm just feeling this pain for my friend, for his circumstance. He's here working, sends his family on vacation. His wife is in a foreign country in a hospital in a coma. Drops everything, he flies out there. She doesn't make it. She passes away. Her funeral happened on Saturday. And it reminded me that life is short. You don't know what happens, guys. You do not know what the day will hold tomorrow. I know this is a sad story, but there's a happy ending to sadness. Look, my dad died when I was 17 and my world fell apart. But what happened is that because of my dad's death, I became very angry and I fell off the deep end. But over time, I learned that his death actually, that adversity created the seed of triumph inside me. And I became better and better and better. And today I do the best I can to take care of myself. Okay, so that tragedy doesn't happen to myself. An accident will happen. I know that's out of my hands, but my health is in my own hands. So I do my best to check myself up. I do all of that stuff because I want to be here for my kids. We cannot live our life with fear and failure. That's holding us back. The graveyard is full of unlived dreams, of unlived potential. And we have to live this day as if it is our last. We have to live life and enjoy life and see life through the lens of this beauty and love if we want to fulfill love. If we don't want to die one day regretting our life. Love what you do. Live life with love. No one knows when it will be our last day. Don't live in regret, guys. Experience is the most valuable extract of suffering. The experience you get from the suffering is wisdom, and the wisdom you get cannot be passed down to anybody else. All must attend their school of experience. There is no other way. Don't pray in this life for life to be easy. Pray for you to be better. Pray for wisdom. Pray for you to learn today and become better. Don't pray for life to be easy. Pray to be able to live in a hard life, come out successful. So I'm sharing this, guys, because I want everybody to better their lives out of this. Okay, these scrolls, this book, I'm studying it, I'm teaching it because I want to apply it. So let's move on to the next one, number 6. Today I will master my emotions. This is one of the hardest things to master is your emotions, guys. This is extremely hard to master if you don't have any inner peace. Over the years, I've gotten better at this, but this is a challenge, guys. And the way I mastered my inner emotions, where I felt like I kind of had a handle over it, is when I learned and mastered my emotion peace and inner peace is when it came from God. My spiritual life had to get better for me to master my emotions, guys. Believe it or not, it was a long time ago. I'd say about maybe 11 years ago, my second boy was born. And I still had this huge anger inside. I mean, I would have this anger, I would have this resentment. I still didn't fully overcome my dad's death. When he died, I fell off the deep end, like I told you guys. And inside me was this anger, this emotion that I could not control. As I met a guy who helped me with this, and multiple people did, and one of them is Mike West, who is actually right now out doing a mission for his church. He helped me turn my life around because he helped me see that, if I turn to God and if I leave it in God's hands, that I will have inner peace in my own heart. And over time, this emotion got mastered. Until now, sometimes I feel like it overtakes me. But as a young man, right before my second son was born, I turned it over to Christ. I was always a believer because I grew up and I never really went to church, but I purposely started reading the Bible every single day. From that point on, I have not stopped doing that. Let me tell you, by praying for me to get better, by looking at myself, by turning it over to God, this great peace came upon me that was unbelievable. And if you don't have this peace, it's unbelievable. I'm telling you, you cannot understand how it feels. You have to actually do it for yourself. But my life got better, okay? I stopped arguing with people, and I started loving life more, and peace came upon me. Problems did not stop. Problems continued to persist. But I started looking at those problems and I said, what can this problem actually do to me? It can't do anything. Actually, the other day, I'll tell you, last Saturday I was working. I was with Zaya, our construction manager. And we met at 7 a.m. at this construction site. And he said, and a guy met, and we're going over all of these issues that we got from the city. Right? Frustrated, going, John, this is BS and all of this stuff. And I looked at him, I said, Zaya, we're going to have to deal with it. And let me tell you, 20 years from now, we will not even remember this day. So let's just do what we have to do and get over it. And he laughed at me, he goes, John, you're right. He goes, 20 years from now, none of us will remember this. So why don't we just go ahead and get it done. I said, yeah, let's just get it done. Let's not get into this emotion of why me? Why did this happen to me? Let's just work on it and get it done. So today, because I found that inner peace with myself, I've been able to pass that inner peace situation to situation with other people. So I want to ask you, to look at this scroll actually and use this as well. Today, I will be the master of my emotions. Don't let your emotions that get the best of you guys, because some of us let that happen. And until now, that happens to me as well. But we have to remember that 20 years from now, what's happening today, we will not even remember. So don't take it so serious. Scroll number 7. I will laugh at the world. I want to start out with this joke on this scroll. There's this man, 75-year-old, he bought a brand new Corvette, and he's older and he's loving life. He buys this Corvette and he decides to floor it. He's on the freeway, he decides to floor it. He floors it, right? And he's doing 100, 120 miles an hour on the freeway, and he's just flying. And the state trooper is sitting there with the radar gun, sees him, boom, this Corvette flies by, and he starts chasing him. From a distance, this old man sees the lights coming, and he's like, oh man, and he floors it even more and tries to lose the state trooper. And he's going really fast, and then he goes, man, what am I doing? I'm not going to lose this guy. So state trooper, follows him, and then the old man pulls over. The state trooper is furious now. He comes over to him and through the window and goes, what are you doing? I'm 30 minutes before my shift is over. Last thing I want to do is give you a ticket, but I'm going to give you a ticket unless you give me a good reason why you were speeding so much. And the old man thinks about it, right? And then says, well, state trooper, he goes, 5 years ago, my wife left me for a state trooper. And when you were following me, and you were chasing me, I thought for a moment that you were actually bringing her back, right? So the state trooper starts laughing, right? Goes, where did this guy come up with this? He thought I'm bringing his wife back, the wife that left him for a state trooper, and starts laughing. And he's like, hey, you know what? Drive safely and let the guy go. What's the moral of the story? Let's laugh at life, guys. It takes more muscles in your face for you to frown than it is to laugh, smile. If you smile, you get a smile back from people. And if you're down on life and if you're just complaining, all you're going to get is somebody that's going to complain back at you, right? So life is good. Enjoy it. Laugh at it. Laugh at yourself. Laugh at the world, but never ever laugh at another person, because it's not nice to laugh at other people. Today I got this text message because I've been looking at Grant Cardone University for you guys, for training, and this guy, Jeremy, that's actually the guy that's been showing me the stuff they offer, sends me this text message with him in a bunny suit, singing a song and doing this and going, hey, I don't know if you know this, but all of our names start with a J, and it started making me laugh. I'm like, man, look at this guy wearing a bunny suit, making me laugh. And he understands that, you get somebody's business by helping them laugh, smile, and making them feel good. So it's a good life. Enjoy it. Scroll number 8. Today I will multiply my value 100-fold. How do we multiply our value 100-fold? How do we become more valuable? How do we become more valuable? By becoming better. That's how we become more valuable. By working on ourselves. By being lifelong students. Look, I'm a high school dropout, guys. I dropped out of high school and went directly into plumbing. And I did it because that was my circumstance at the time. I did it because I really didn't like school to begin with, and I just really didn't want to go to school. And this was an opportunity for me to not go to school, go to work. So when my dad died, I dropped out of high school. A lot of my friends went to college, got degrees, and did stuff. And I went straight to the working world with a shovel in my hand, starting to shovel. But what I learned a couple years later, is that nothing around me will get better unless I get better. So when I got into my plumbing truck, I spent my time driving around listening to audiobooks. I listened to hundreds, if not thousands of audiobooks. Zig Ziglar to Jim Rohn to Brian Tracy, anybody I could get my hands on. And some of them that really spoke with me well, like Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn, I listened to it over and over and over again. Back then they had cassette tapes. And I broke cassette tapes listening to it. Rewind and listen to it again. I mean, I wore out these cassette tapes where it broke. And then I learned how to take apart a cassette tape and use, some Scotch tape to actually put it together. It would skip over that area that I glued together, but then I would listen to it more. Right? And today we have our phones, which is the digital aspect of those cassette tapes back then. And until today, I listen and I listen. I have my favorite podcasts. I go through maybe 10 or 15, maybe sometimes 20 books a year. Either I read them or I listen to them, audiobooks. I write notes on them. I don't just learn them, but I try to teach them as well, which is my attempt today, right? This is the book I read multiple times. And the reason I'm teaching it you today is because I need these principles, guys, because I want to get better. So today I will multiply my value 100-fold. How do you multiply your value 100-fold? What do you spend your time doing? Do you spend your time reading books, listening to audiobooks, becoming better at your trade, becoming better at what you do? Or are you listening to the news? Are you listening to music? Are you listening to sports talk? What are you doing? You're only going to become better and you're going to multiply your value 100-fold when you start becoming better from the inside out. So learn from me, guys. Learn from what I've done and start listening to audiobooks. Start listening to sermons. I listen to Joel Osteen a lot. I've probably heard almost every talk he has. I listen to other sermons as well. I love listening to good motivational like something that brings me up. So do the same thing, guys. Do it on a daily basis. Make it a habit. Scroll number 9, I will act now. What are you waiting for? Tomorrow was yesterday for some people. What habit are you putting off? The gym membership is the highest towards the end of December and in January. You know why? Because most people are waiting for New Year's to do something. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. You know what? I'm going to start that diet tomorrow. I'm going to start that workout tomorrow. I'm going to start listening to those audiobooks tomorrow. I'm going to grab that book tomorrow and start reading it. And then tomorrow becomes yesterday, and then tomorrow becomes a promise in the future, and then the future, and we just pushing it forward and forward and forward and forward. Why is it that most people put things off? Because they don't want to leave the old bad habits and turn it into good habits. One day, I was sharing a lot of our company principles and what I do and some of our secret stuff with a competitor, right? I was teaching him, I was showing him, I was doing all of this, and somebody came up and said, John, he goes, why are you doing that? Why are you sharing your secrets with other people? Why are you doing this? And I go, look, first of all, there's no secrets in this world. Okay, if somebody wants to find out something, they will find out. Number 2, I understand a really strong principle, and this principle is called execution. This word is called execution. Most people will take a bunch of information, they will never, ever, ever apply it. And that's the secret. The secret is there is no secret sauce. The secret is an execution, is actually an acting, doing. So how much information? We don't have the shortage of information. We have the shortage of people acting on the information that we have in this world. So what are you putting off, guys? What do you need to do to act now? What is that thing that you need to do for you to actually act now? So, I ask you to do that. Just don't wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow will pass and you won't do the things that you want to do. And this leads us to the final scroll, which is I will pray for guidance. I will pray for guidance. So for this last 11 years, guys, I've made it a habit to pray every single day, every single morning. And my prayer consists of praying for health, my kids and my family's health, for the people that I work with, praying for their families. And then I pray for me to get better, get wiser. I pray for God not to take my problems away, but allow me to learn from the problems that are in front of me and for me to become better. Not for my problems to get less, but for me to get better so I could deal with problems that come at me. So we all need to start our day with prayer. We need to end our day with prayer, because when you pray, you're meditating. Today I pray for you, and I want to just end this talk with the blessing. And before I do that, guys, I shared the scrolls with you, but I urge you to get the book, because the message I gave you is my version of what I took from this book. But when you get this book and you read this book, you're going to get your own version out of this book, right? It's been diluted, guys, and I did my best that I can to translate it, but I ask you to go back and review the book for yourself, because you will get a lot from Og Mandino's The Greatest Salesman. And get the first part, read the first book, guys, and then get the second part as well, because the story is amazing. It comes from principles that have not changed for thousands and thousands of years. And these principles are principles that will not change for the next 1,000 years. They're principles that you can also pass on to your kids, that you can apply in your own life and pass down to your children. Here's the blessing, guys. May the roads rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine soft upon your face. May the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand. Thank you guys for everything you do. Have a great day. God bless.